Hey, welcome back. It's Jason Walter here. In my last video, I discussed the California housing market, the latest updates we have for you. In that video, though, I went over California as a state as a whole, rather than going into detail about how each county and how each region fared in California. In that video, though, I asked you guys, do you want me to make a separate video regarding that? And due to popular demand, because a ton of you commented saying you definitely want me to make a video about this, that is the topic of today's video, how each region and how each county fared in California. And by the way, if you missed my previous video about the latest California housing market update, then I'll leave a link below for you. But the best way to share today's stats with you is to share my screen, so let me do that with you right now. So this is from the California Association of Realtors for August 2021. They just posted this a couple of days ago. There's generally a 3-week lag of when they post housing stats. So just a few days ago, they posted August's stats. At a high level here, the existing home sales, this is 414,000. That's a seasonally adjusted annual rate. So at the current sales pace in August 2021, they would sell 414,000 houses. So that's down 10.9% on a year-to-year basis, but up 21% on a year-to-date basis. So home prices, again, 827,940 is the median sold price in August 2021 in California. That's an all-time record high and up 17% compared to 1 year ago. The unsold inventory index is 1.9 months, so we would need approximately 4 to 6 months to have a more balanced real estate market, so it's still a strong seller's market. And houses are selling very quickly as well, 9 days on average, and that's down 31% compared to a year ago. So here's the region stats that I want to share with you today. I want to show you some graphics here first, and I'll share some data here in just a little bit. So again, this is for Southern California. Existing home sales down 4% year to year, and then existing home prices are up 18% compared to 1 year ago. And then the unsold inventory index, median days on the market, is all pretty similar across all the regions. And the sales price to list price ratio is 102.7%. So what this basically means is that home sellers are getting on average 2.7% over their asking price. That's what 102.7% means. The Central Coast, all in positive range. Home sales are pretty much flat compared to a year ago. And then existing home prices are only up 11%. Compared to 18.8% in Southern California. So home prices have not increased as great, but Central Coast, $905,000. Sales price to list price ratio, 101.2%. So Central Valley, where I'm located, I'm a real estate agent in Sacramento. Home sales actually went down 2% compared to a year ago, and the existing home price is $450,000. Gosh, compared that to $905,000 in the Central Coast. Unsold inventory index and median days in the market is pretty similar to the sale to list price ratio as well. Bay Area is bouncing back. So home sales there are up 2.5%, but up 33% year to date. Existing home price, $1.3 million almost. And that's an 18% gain year over year. And then home prices homes are selling on average 6.5% more than the seller's asking price. And that's pretty similar for the Bay Area. A lot of houses sell for over the asking price. And in San Francisco, for example, I don't know why, but a lot of real estate agents, or most real estate agents, it's just common for them to list houses very low, knowing they're going to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the asking price. That's just what the San Francisco's market, that's what's common in the area. So I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why the ratio is so high there. All right, so far north, so this would be north and then east part or northeastern part of California. This is actually the territory where the Dixie Fire is located. So that really hampered home sales there. And I'll go over that more here in a little bit. But home sales are down 21.9% from August 2020 to August 2021. Home prices that are up 19%. And then houses that are selling on average for the seller's asking price. This is also a different number too, which I'm going to go over here in a bit too, because the unsold inventory index is 3 months compared to around less than 2 months for the other regions. All right, let's talk about home sales. So Bay Area sales are bouncing back is the big headline there. So you see this dip here. This is in May 2020 when we had the stay-at-home orders. Obviously, home sales decreased quite a bit across the nation, really, and then they shot up ever since then. especially this year though. So in January 2021, maybe February, really, home sales really have skyrocketed there. And they're still in positive territory at 2.5%. But when you compare that to Southern California, home sales are actually down 4.1%. Although we did see the dip and then the increase after or earlier this year. Central Valley, we also saw the dip in when they had the stay-home orders and the giant increase, but we're still down 2% compared to last year as far as home sales go. Sales by region. So I wouldn't put a whole lot of weight into Central Coast and Far North's stats. That's because they represent such a small percentage of the home sales for August for the entire state. So you look at Southern California, 45% of all sales are in Southern California. The Bay Area, 21%, Central Valley, 22%. So we could have large fluctuations in the Central Coast and Far North just because there's not as many home sales there compared to the other regions. So when we look at home sales growth, this is an increase from a year-over-year basis. Look at this, Far North down 22%, other counties 19%. The only counties that had, or only major regions that had a positive increase on a year-over-year basis for home sales is the San Francisco Bay Area and the Central Coast. All right, so about home prices. So recap again, 827,000, all-time record high. We've had so many record highs hit. Part of the reason why that price is so high is due to the sale of luxury houses that's really pushing up the median home price. So what this basically means that out of all the home sales in California in August of 2021, half of them sold for less than 827, and the other half sold for more than 827,000. So that's what the median sold price is. But you can see here, one thing I definitely want to point out with you guys, obviously we had a major downturn in 2008 and 2009, but you see every year we tend to have a peak of home prices in the summer months, and then it goes down in the winter months. So we see this up and down, up and down, up and down. But last year, we definitely did not see that completely abnormal real estate market we had. We had some down months in January and February, and then down again in May when we had the stay-home orders, or actually really in April. And then the housing market absolutely took off and actually stayed hot through the second half of the year, which is unlike most normal years. And then right now, too, we had a giant increase of home prices in the past few months here. All right, so price per square foot is an all-time record high, as I mentioned in my video yesterday. As you can see here, way above what it was, like 10 years ago, especially. All right, so homes sold above the asking price by county. So we know that on average, houses are selling for more than the asking price across the state, but each region and each county, it varies greatly, right? So not every real estate market's the same. So the counties that had the highest percentage of houses that sold above the asking price were Alameda, San Francisco, Santa Clara, Contra Costa, and San Mateo, basically the Bay Area. San Francisco, not a big surprise, like I mentioned, because houses are listed for far less than they know they're going to sell for. So that's very, very common. But look at that. Alameda, 87% of the houses that sold above the asking price. Sacramento, about 70% of all houses are selling over the asking price. However, when you compare that to Lassen, Mariposa, Mono, Siskiyou, Tehama, Lake, Mendocino County, Nevada County, Amador, all far less than the rest of the county. Part of that, I'm guessing, is because the Dixie Fire. A lot of these counties are in the far north region, which I'll go over here in just a little bit. So let's talk about inventory and active listings. And by the way, I hope you're getting a lot of value out of this video. I've been meaning to post this video for a long time, but I've been so busy, and I finally had time to make this video. So if you are getting any value out of this video, then I greatly appreciate if you hit the like button. All right, so unsold inventory up in all regions. It's still below last year though. So this is the Bay Area in green. The dark green is in Southern California. Central Valley is in blue. So as you can see here, last normal real estate market we had was in 2019. Towards the end of 2019, we had unsold inventory was around like 3 to 4 months. Now we're more or less than 2 months. So again, what this means is, let's say 1.9 months of inventory. What that basically means is that at the current sales pace, if no new listings were to hit the market, then all the houses listed for sale would be sold in 1.9 months. In order to have a balanced real estate market, we need that number to be 3 to 6 months. If we want a buyer's market where buyers have the upper hand from home sellers, we would need this number to be six months or more. So in other words, 3 times what we have now. So this is one of the reasons why home prices have been increasing so greatly, because we don't have as much houses for sale and we have a lot of home buyer demand. All right, talking about housing supply is near last year's levels. Housing inventory, or the number of active listings in August 2020 versus August 2021. So the far north, the Central Coast, and Central Valley all had very comparable numbers compared to last year. Southern California, not so much. We have 2,000 houses less compared to 1 year ago. In San Francisco Bay Area, about 1,000 less as well. Here's a key stat here. So this is demand and supply seeking for balance. We are still going to have some imbalance though. So here's the San Francisco Bay Area, right? So home sales is up 2.5% on a year-to-year basis. So August 2020 to August 2021. Home sales are up, but the number of active listings is actually down 18%. So even though we had 18% less houses available for sale, home sales still went up. So that shows me that the market there is still very strong because there's a lack of housing inventory, but we're still in a positive range for home sales. Same for Southern California, but not as much a disparity. The active listings are down 11% and home sales are down 4%. And then just the opposite in the Central Valley, right? So we have more active listings and then home sales are going down. But in the Central Coast, I mean, what a big gap here. So active listings down 34% and home sales are actually increased. So it has to be a very, very challenging market there for home buyers. And then just the opposite in the far north, right? So home sales are down almost 22%, but active listings is down 6.2%. So it's showing there it's getting a little bit soft. But again, I believe that's due to the Dixie Fires that we have. All right, so this is the graphics I want to share with you. Let's dive into, at a regional level, what we're seeing. And then I'm going to show you all the home prices and home sales by county and region as well. So again, this is from the California Association of Realtors. They just posted this a couple of days ago. So let's talk about home sales. So sales in 3 of the 5 major regions dipped from 1 year ago. The far north region had the biggest year-over-year sales decline of 22% in August, primarily due to the Dixie Fire. At the time of this video, that fire has burned almost 1 million acres, and it's on the far northeastern part of California. And it's about 86% contained. But anyway, it's a huge fire. Obviously, that would affect home sales, obviously, right? So that's primarily due to the Dixie Fire because home sales declined so much, as 4 of the 6 counties in that region are in the fire zone. So I thought that was interesting how a wildfire really can affect the housing market. Nearly 3/4 of all counties, so 37 of the 51 that are tracked by CAR, posted year-over-year decreases in closed sales in August, with 23 counties declined by more than 10% last year. Plumas recorded the sharpest sales decline from a year ago at minus 62%, followed by Siskiyou and Amador. But these are counties that are threatened by wildfires in the last few weeks, so housing demand was negatively impacted as a result of that. So median prices, let's talk about the median sold price. So all major regions continue to increase by double digits, but none set a new record high in August. So as a whole entire state, we did hit an all-time record high, but on a major region level, then they didn't hit any record highs. However, there are some counties that did hit record highs though. So the far north led the largest jump of 19% year over year. And despite the strong price growth rates, all regions decelerated from a few months ago. So home prices are going up, but not as greatly as we saw earlier this year, right? So again, all regions decelerate from a few months ago when regional median prices surged by more than 20% year over year. So we're seeing now is that home prices are increasing in the range of around 15 to 20%, but a few months ago it was over 20%. So we're seeing some deceleration of home price acceleration. Home prices continue to grow steadily from last year, with all but 2 of the 51 counties tracked by CAR showing a year-over-year gain from last August. So home prices are increasing greatly across all counties except for 2 of them. 4 counties set new record high median prices in August compared to 13 in the prior month. So we're seeing less records being broken on the home price front. And I would imagine that would continue throughout the rest of the year as we approach the fall and winter months. We will see. So after increasing the past 6 consecutive months, California housing supply, meaning the number of houses listed for sale, has leveled off in August as the market transitioned into the off season. New active listings also dipped from a year ago for the second straight month after growing for 4 straight months from March through June. The dip in new active listings is partly due to seasonality, and the surge of COVID cases potentially could have a role as well. So a couple more stats I want to share with you, and then I'm going to dive into how each region fared. 2/3 of all counties reported by CAR experienced a drop of active listings from last August. So we have less options for home buyers right now, or at least at the end of August, compared to 1 year ago. 27 of them fell by more than 10% year over year. If you want to pause and screen grab, feel free to do so. The imbalance between supply and demand. I've talked about this a ton on the channel, right? Because we have a lot of home buyer demand and not enough houses to meet that demand, and that's what's driving up home prices. So the imbalance between supply and demand continues to heat up in this market, with many buyers offering sales bids over the asking price. So in August, 67% of houses sold above the asking price, marking the 11th consecutive month since September 2020 that more than half of the houses sold above the asking price. And just so you know, the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage interest rate averaged 2.84% in August, and that's down from 2.94% in August 2020. All right, let's go over each region and each county here in California. If you want to pause the video, if you have any questions, to leave me a comment below too. So here's California's single family houses. So again, the median sold price is $827,000. Gosh, compared that to 1 year ago, $706,000. That's an increase of 17% year over year. Sales dropped 11% year to year though. The only region that had an increase of home prices on a month-to-month basis was the Central Coast with a 4% increase. And that's drastically different than the far north, obviously, with a 3.3% decrease, largely due to the fires. Home prices increased greatly. Look at this. Every single region increased by more than 11%. The Central Coast was the least amount on a year-to-year basis, but gosh, 11% on a year-to-year basis. It's more healthy to have a 3 to 5% increase for home prices. It's entirely not normal and not healthy, in my opinion, to have home prices increase by so much in just 1 year. So home sales were down greatly in most regions, but the most was the far north, and then home sales were the down the most, obviously, in the far north as well. All right, so let's talk about the San Francisco Bay Area, and then I'm going to be going over Southern California and all the other major regions here. So here's the on a county level in the San Francisco Bay Area. So take a look at these median sold prices. Alameda, $1.3 million. Marin County, $1.56 million. San Francisco, for a single family house, the median sold price was $1.85 million in August. San Mateo, though, was the highest, $1.9 million. Absolutely crazy. So Marin, prices on a month-to-month, I actually found this very interesting because earlier on during this pandemic, Marin absolutely shot up, whereas San Francisco completely faltered. And so we're seeing kind of an opposite. Maybe there's more people moving to San Francisco now than we did earlier on during this pandemic, because Marin absolutely shot up. I would say in the middle of last year, these numbers were up like 40% compared to 1 year ago. So in any case, I thought it was interesting that prices on a month-to-month basis in Marin County, which is just north of San Francisco, decreased almost 11%. In contrast, though, Sonoma County increased 1.1%. Home prices are up greatly when you compare to 1 year ago. Alameda, which is on the East Bay, up 26%, definitely led the pack there. And also Santa Clara, 18%. But Marin and Napa definitely fell behind, 3%. So home prices increased, what's that? 8 times more in Alameda. Sales on a month-to-month basis, this is the number of home sales in August. They increased in Napa by 16%, and then sales on a year-to-date basis increased the most in Santa Clara. All right, let's talk about Southern California here. So Southern California, Los Angeles, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Diego, and Ventura. I know a lot of people asked about Riverside stats. So Riverside, the median sold price is $570,000 compared to $486,000 from 1 year ago. The prices were flat on a month-to-month basis. Then home sales actually decreased 6.8%, and on a year-to-date basis, down 14%. So prices on a year-to-date basis, San Bernardino had the biggest increase of 24%, but all regions here increased by more than 14% on a year-to-date basis. Not a year-to-date, a year-to-year basis. Sales month-to-month change, every single region or every single county that CAR tracks in Southern California had a decrease of home sales on a month-to-month basis. All right, Central Coast, so that'd be Monterey, San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz. I went to school at UC Santa Cruz. So that's where I spent 4 years of my life in college. Home prices there, $1.2 million, quite remarkable. And home prices there increased the most compared to a year ago, 19.5%. Also, number of sales increased by 41%, far more than any other county here that they track. And actually, they were the only ones that were in positive territory. The other ones actually decreased. So if anyone lives in Santa Cruz and can tell us what's going on there, it seems like the market there is pretty hot. Santa Barbara increased prices there by 32.7% in one single month. I'm guessing this is probably due to the fact that maybe they had more luxury home sales in August compared to July. Only a guess. So if anyone is a realtor in Santa Barbara, please let us know. Central Valley. So they go over a lot of counties in the Central Valley. So Sacramento, where I'm obviously a real estate agent, home prices there about $515,000 compared to $425 compared to 1 year ago. And then the prices increased 21%. Home sales are down 1.2% compared to 1 year ago and fairly flat compared to 1 month. Glenn County was definitely on the bottom end of the list for home price acceleration. Well, home prices actually decreased by 5.5% and sales dropped 36%. And Glenn County, I actually looked it up. It's just west of Oroville, which is south of Red Bluff. So I'm not too sure if they had any fires that may have impacted their home sales. But if anyone knows, please leave a comment below. Also want to point out too, on a year-to-date basis, not year-to-date, year-to-year basis, home prices increased greatly across all the counties in Central Valley, especially Sacramento, San Benito, and San Joaquin, all increasing by more than 20%. Compared to Tulare, only increased 13% only. It's still a great increase. So far north. So here's the regions that really were impacted by the Dixie Fire and continue to be impacted, I would imagine. So Butte County sales are down 24%, but look at these, they're all down except for Lassen and Shasta. But Lassen increased 16% compared to a 32% decrease in Plumas. Plumas County is just north of Sacramento, by the way. Home prices decreased greatly on a month-to-month basis, and then sales only down 62%, which is pretty remarkable. Other counties in California that I wanted to point out with you guys, and I have some additional data to share with you guys. Probably wrap this video up here next few minutes though. So Amador County, which is, south and east of Sacramento. It's like wine region, really good Zinfandels there. So they have their home sales decreased 35% compared to 1 year ago. And look at these. There's 4 regions that had a decrease of home sales by more than 30%. That's Calaveras, El Dorado, and then Nevada. El Dorado may have been impacted too. We had a wildfire that was started in El Dorado County, and then it spread very close to Lake Tahoe. So I'm wondering if maybe that impacted home sales for August. I can't remember when that fire started, but that could be one reason why home sales decreased so much. So prices on a year-to-year basis, Calaveras and Del Norte increased by more than 25% compared to Mendocino, only increased by 1.7%. Mariposa also had a giant increase month-to-month basis from July to August of this year, increased 24%, and Mendocino, just the opposite, decreased by 18%. All right, so that's that. I want to share some other stats with you regarding the unsold inventory index and then the median time on the market. So in California as a whole, the unsold inventory index of 1.9 months. Again, we want this number to be more in the range of 4 to 6 months. It's 1.9 months in California for the California single house. The median time in the market is 9 days, but I want to point out how each region is very, very similar in this regard for the unsold inventory index and also time on the market. So median time on the market means for when a home seller lists their house for sale to when they ultimately accept an offer. So on average, home sellers are putting their house on the market and accepting an offer 9 days later, which is very, very fast. In Sacramento, I think it's 8 days. So what I want to point out, though, is that every single region, so they break it up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major regions. They all had very similar days in the market, around 9 or 7 to 11 days, which is all very similar. But you compare it to 1 year ago, there's some pretty big differences here, right? So overall in California, 13 days compared to 9 days. And then look at this, far north, took 38 days to sell a house in August of 2020. And in August 2021, only 11 days. So 3 times faster compared to a year ago. The only thing that was different for the inventory index that I found was all the regions were around 2%, but the far north was 3%. And that was probably largely due to the fact that they are the fires we had in the far north region. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. And also consider subscribing as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Have an awesome day.